Good afternoon. Welcome to the Barefoot Bay Recreation's Board of Trustees regular meeting for October 9th, 2020 at Building D&D. The meeting will now come to order. As we do before each meeting, the trustees would like to take a moment of silence to remember all our service personnel, both men and women, who have or are still fighting to protect this great country that we live in. Also, let's remember all our Barefoot Bay residents, both past and present, and keep in our prayers the fires that destroyed homes and lives, and also all those that were affected by the COVID-19, the families who lost their loved ones and are the ones that are still recuperating from the COVID-19. Let's keep them all in our prayers. Let's now have a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for coming in and thank you for watching it. Before I do the roll call, I would like to have John Coffey read Mr. Compton's resignation letter.
Chairman Klosky, please accept my resignation as trustee of Barefoot Bay effective immediately. It has been an honor and a highlight of my life to serve this wonderful Barefoot Bay community, and a pleasure serving with you, the other trustees, and Mr. Coffey. I wish all of you in Barefoot Bay the very best. Sincerely, Trustee Roger Compton, received on Wednesday, October 7th.
Thank you, Roger, and good luck in whatever you do, Roger. Roll call, Randy Loveland.
Yes. Mr. Klosky, are you here?
Yes.
Are you doing the roll call?
I was going to do it, but
okay.
Go ahead. You want to do it?
No.
Okay. Randy Loveland, you're
yes,
here.
I am.
Luann Henderson? Here. Mike Mano?
Yes.
Joe Klosky is present. Also present is John Coffey, District Manager, Stephanie Brown, District Clerk, Rich Armington, Resident Relations Manager, Matt Getz, Property Service Manager. We do have a quorum, Chairman. That's me. Thank you. So I just, when I did, I should have, never mind. Okay, we do have a quorum.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Just a comment before you go on with the agenda. You read the letter. Is that it? We just accepted it? That was it?
Yes, I accept.
It is. That's fine. You know, just a comment. I, for one, ran with Roger for this board a year ago, and I really am sorry to see him go.
Yes.
I thought Randy, Luann, and I, and you, I think during the last year, we really started to pull the board together, and everybody thought open-minded about things, and I really am. I'm sorry to see Roger go. I thought he was a very good board member.
But I guess he has some better down there and everything.
But
he
again,
wants to change. So,
I want him to know that I appreciated him being on the board and with his thoughts and comments.
And I do know that the board did work in harmony here, and that we were getting some stuff accomplished. So, again, like I say, thank you very much, Mr. Compton. Okay. Next thing is the approval of minutes for September 22nd. Motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I made a motion, second by Mr. Mino. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, please say aye.
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 Motion passes. Mr. Randy Loveland, would you do the Treasury report, please?
Yes, this is the Barefoot Bay Recreation District Treasury Report, October 9th, 2020. In petty cash, we have $2,500. Operating cash in the banks. MB&T, we have $1,646,569.68. Interest-bearing accounts in the SBNA reserve, $698,773.19 for total cash balances, $2,347,842.87. Total daily deposits, $75,741.28. Total deposits being the same, $75,741.28. The expenditures over $5,000 for period 9/15 through 9/30. For ABM landscaping, $5,967. Final payment for the restroom at the beach property, $22,970.75. Legal fees paid to Whitebird Law, $15,300. First quarterly installment for our FY21 liability insurance, $36,908. Electricity for 8/20, $7,477.39. Management fees for 9/20, $13,284.60. Lounge patio renovation and Phase 1 site survey for SC, $19,399.53. Payroll for pay period 9/13/20, $51,152.24. Taxes for that same period, $9,987.47. Payroll for 9/27/20, $51,778.31. Payroll taxes for that period, $14,192.26. Total expenditures over $5,000, $247,817.55. I submit the treasurer's report.
Motion to approve as read.
So move.
Mike Mayo made a motion. Second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. Before I go into audience participation, I didn't realize Ernie Cruz was here from Gulf Operation Manager, so I'm sorry, Ernie. So if you can. Okay, thank you. So the next is the audience participation. John?
Mr. Chairman, I have 3 letters from one individual before I open up the conference call system. I respectfully like to be able to make a comment before this.
Go ahead.
Within these 3 letters, there'll be a recurring theme that the board does not answer questions. I'd just like to put on the record that, as everyone on this board knows and a good chunk of the community knows, I answer emails and phone calls 7 days a week, and I'm in the office 5 days a week. This individual has not been in my office to ask any of these questions and get answers for quite a long time. So I'd just like to put that out there.
Thank you, John.
And just, reiterate, anyone has any questions about the operations of Barefoot Bay, all they need to do is come in and see me or email me anytime through the week, including weekends, and I respond. Okay. And I'll be starting the 3-minute timer. Richard Schwatlow, 636 Marlin Circle. The worth of a question. As the previous BOT meeting, several questions were asked. In new construction, are we following CDC suggestions with hospital-grade air filters and air transfer systems? No reply from the board. There has been several instances of virus infection at Building D&E, and the building has to be closed. Are we following CDC suggestions to retrofit air quality systems? No reply from the board. On election day, a person that has been in Building D&E calls and states he has the virus. Does the board close the building or allow people to still enter? No reply from the board. By raising the above questions, would this affect litigation concerning about the virus because the board could not use as a defense that it was an unforeseen occurrence? No reply from the board. Our future budgets have to stay within CPI guidelines. With an increase of minimum wage to $15 an hour, what are the ramifications to our budget, and will this cause a delay in new construction like the lounge? No reply from the board. During this meeting, a resident asked to be called at home during the audience participation. He asked a question about building a garage on his property. At this time, 3 of the 4 board members present the Bay's attorney and Bay's department head had a lengthy discussion on the garage. The resident called during the discussion and asked additional questions. The above named went into further discussion. The question of the garage was an important question to the residents. My question is not to the board today, but to the Bay's residents. Of all the questions asked the board, what question do you feel was worthy of a discussion on? The health, safety, and financial future of the Bay, or a lengthy discussion on a garage? Only about 300 residents watched meetings on different devices. I hope not all of them say I have no reply. I want to end my comments with the most important quote of my lifetime. Be excellent to each other. And I want to thank everyone that worked on the mini golf. I could not believe what I read on Facebook. Why didn't we build something for the kids? We did. It's called Miniature Golf for the Kids and the Kids at Heart. Second letter. During the meeting under New Business, Section C, Shopping Center, Air Conditioning Replacement, the CDC stated on Monday, October 5th, that the virus can spread easier in improperly vented buildings. I have asked the question at previous board meetings, is the work being done at the shopping center meet the current standards set by the CDC for hospital-grade air filtration systems and the air transfer system in the Bay? 3 minutes are up.
Mr. Chairman, while we're doing that, you're trying to set things up, all right to make a comment about public participation? Is that appropriate? Sure. Just a point, I guess, is that we talked about the letters there and that we received. From my own perspective, just so people know, so the people in the Bay know, every single phone call I've ever received or every single email I have ever received, I have responded to. It may only be an acknowledgement that thank you for your comments, thank you for your comments, thank you for the interest, whatever it may be. But I guess I would like to just let everyone know, I will not write letters to people who simply send me a written letter. I'm not going to take the time to start writing handwritten or typed letters, sending them out using postage. If people want to contact me, they can contact me by phone, they can contact me by email, but I, for one, will not respond to written letters. I just don't have time to do that, and I have no intention of spending that time. But all emails and phone calls, I've never, not once, not responded to any of them, just so you know. Letters get to be a point where I'm not going to sit down for one and start answering all these questions in letters. If there's an email, I can jot out saying, thanks for your comments, we'll look into it, but not in letters.
Thank you, Mike. I agree with you. Thank you.
Of available commands, press *#.
Good afternoon. You're on the audience participation with the Board of Trustees. Please state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Elaine Van Brochat, 1090 Parkway Lane. I just want to say I am the current president of the CVO, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank Roger Compton for his outstanding work in this community. Having worked with Roger over the last 4 or 5 years, I have personally seen the integrity and dedication he has for Barefoot Bay. Through thick or thin, he stood by Barefoot Bay and given his heartfelt commitment whenever he was called upon. Most of us in the Bay have felt the love and friendship from Roger and Tamisa in some form or another. Maybe you volunteered with Barefoot by the Lake. Maybe you've participated in trivia night where they beat your butt. Maybe you've joined in on karaoke night at the 19th hole. If there was a chance to volunteer, they did it. You have provided endless hours of community spirit, and your addition to the BOT has been priceless. I saw a quote by Pope Francis, which really applies to you and Tamisa. It goes this way: life is good when you are happy, but much better when others are happy because of you. The CVO salutes you, Roger, for the love you have given to the people of Barefoot Bay. We will truly miss both you and Tamisa. Thank you.
Hello, is there anyone else who'd like to speak to the board? Anyone who'd like to speak to the Board of Trustees?
Audience participation is now closed. Okay, we are now going to unfinished business. First is the phase reopening discussion. John?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, trustees, residents watching at home. This is our regular review of the reopenings. Currently, we are on a Barefoot Bay modified Phase 2 reopening. At the last meeting, we moved the tea times from 16 minutes to 12 minutes and did some reorganization of the pool times and opened the lounge for takeout window service only. Since that meeting, the governor has lifted all restrictions in the state, and for the audience's sake, I sent some information to the board prior to this. Staff believes there's 3 courses of action the board could consider going forward. No change from our current level of reopening. Transition to a modified Phase 3, which would basically reopen the lounge and 19th hole indoor service, beverage only at 50% capacity, reinstall the benches outside the back of the 19th hole, increase capacities at the 2 pools. Building C and the pool room would remain closed. Building A is closed for renovations. And the third option, of course, is to lift all BBRD restrictions. Happy to report that for the last few weeks we've not had any known major outbreaks of COVID in the area. Approximately 80 residents took part of a free screening Brevard County had last week in Building A. Staff believes option number 2, transitioning to Phase 3, is a reasonable option at this point. If the board elected to go there, the pools could be expanded in hours and capacity probably by mid next week. It would take till probably Monday the 19th to open the inside of the lounge and 19th hole due to staffing issues, and also get time to get picnic tables put back in place. Mr. Getz is here. If you have any specific questions of him, Mr. Cruz is here. If there's any questions about the golf course, and I'll answer questions best of my ability.
Board of Trustees?
I would like to ask Matt. It says group activities are allowed if proper social distancing is followed. This is under the pools. Staff will have discretion to put an end to them if it's not if the social distancing is not followed. Is that going to be up to the pool host to do? Because
Well, let me just chime in right now. The term proper social distancing is one that a lot of people take differently. The CDC offers personal guidance to stay 6 feet away from people. When we wrote this guideline back in late spring, early summer, the concept of that phrase meant what was required by the state. And since there is no state restrictions now, we would not set up tables and chase lounges right on top of each other, but we're not going to be out there with a yardstick keeping people apart from each other.
now my question is the pool host going to do that? Will the pool host do that? I know the pool hosts don't want to get into any situations with the residents, and I don't blame them. I'm just asking if they're the ones who are going to let people know that they can't do stuff.
The pool hosts are there to enforce our rules. Whatever our rules are at the time is what they enforce.
Okay. And then, all right, I had that question. The only thing I think we should go to modified 3. I think it's time. I feel like I want to protect everybody here, but I think sooner or later they have to learn to protect themselves. And it's like having children. It's like having 5,000 children that you would never want anything bad to happen to. But people have to make up their own mind, and so I think it's time.
Mr. Mano? Randy? Any comments?
Randy, you're right.
Go ahead.
A couple questions, I guess. First of all, we changed the hours on the pool. That went okay. There was no problems with that. No problems with the exercise groups. Nobody was upset too much. I mean, it went all right.
No, I had an email last night from one of the groups wanting a longer time slot.
Wow, right.
And
Okay.
that is one thing that the pool supervisor would probably reevaluate. If we go to phase 3 and capacity goes up again, we probably can, it's ultimately going to be her call. I don't micromanage my staff. I have a lot of confidence in the pool supervisor. But it's very likely that we would go back to the standard exercise times because we haven't been reaching capacity at phase 2, and phase 3's capacity right now would give more flexibility because the whole concept of the time slots and fitting the group exercise people back to back was trying to maximize the number of people can use the pools. Once capacity goes up, it's very likely we can go back to the traditional schedules that they prefer.
A couple other comments, questions. As we look at doing this, of course, we anticipate, and you hear over and over, well, people will do it what is right and correct, and I for one, don't believe that happens very often. I also don't believe this has anything to do with rights or anything else. What we do, we're up here to do things and protect the health and safety of our staff and our residents, and that's what the board does, makes rules for all of the amenity areas and all the common areas, and that's what the point is. Having said that, we changed tea times also last time, and I would have a comment or a question to Ernie, I guess, if he would. I think he was there. Because I kind of pushed that last time, I went out to every group I knew of to try to tell people not to congregate too much prior to tea times, et cetera, and to try to make this work. A simple question, did you see any problems? Do you think it worked okay, or?
So now you have groups showing up early and collectively bunching. I don't know if this thing's on or not, but you've got some groups, which are the same ones that are going to be the same all the time, that will come out early and congregate out front and block things around. But
Well,
we
again,
just deal with it and
I
ask
even
them
made
to-
sure I talked to, as I would go off and play golf, I made sure and try to talk to some of your starters and say, don't be afraid to tell these people to go away if that's the point. We don't want to lose what we just accomplished here.
So none of us are afraid to tell anybody the rules. It's just that the residents of some of the members are going to do what they want to do no matter what.
The third point, I guess, and I'm not opposed to this, but I just have to say it. Yesterday, 3,300 more people in Florida tested positive. 130, 170 some people died again yesterday. I know we have to open things up, but this thing is not over. Again, there are states. Wisconsin is a point where it's just going to get so bad they'll close up the whole thing. So I'm not opposed to going to this conditioned reopening, but I just hope people realize and remember that they have to try to still social distance on their own, not having pool people go and tell them to do it. They have to do that. They have to remember that this COVID is still around. So, again, I would go for the number 2, the conditioned reopening.
Randy?
I agree with Mike a little bit there, because I think that during our close time, and it's probably, we had a very, very low number. I mean, we had 1, 2 here or there. This last month, we had 28 outbreaks from one testing site. That gives me cause for concern, but not being a doctor myself, it's a hard call. I think that we do need to open up more, and I had a conversation with Kathy. Kathy feels that she's comfortable with opening the lounge at a 50% capacity, and she feels that the staff would be able to keep things sterile as sterile can be, I guess, in there. I know that we've got the community that's calling out for that, and hopefully they would use good sense. I'm going to go for, my thought is to go with the recommendation of the staff. If the staff feels that they can handle this, then they can handle it. My concern is if we go with it and we end up with a spike or an outbreak and we have to close again, that is such an injustice to our staff. So at this point, I'm going to go with what the staff feels is best. There really should be, or are, the fingers on the pulse.
When it reopens, is the staff, is like with the lounge in the 19th, are the staff are they going to wear masks? Are they going to be asked to wear masks? Are they going to be encouraged to wear masks?
The managers have, there's no district-wide requirement for facial coverings. Kathy has told me that currently she has in place a mandatory face covering policy for her department.
Good, because I think that'll help. I know in the pro shop they have that big glass, and there's not, people are not really going in there too much. But if you're going to have people having a few, I think a mask is a good idea for those people.
I'm a little hazy on it. I thought maybe what I would like to see is maybe just when we have our next board meeting, which would be the 26th. At that time, I would have been more linked thing there, but I'm still not. I'm a little afraid of doing it. I realize staff has got everything probably will get under control, and I'm hoping the residents do listen and do whatever has to be done for safety and everything. But as of right now, I don't feel that too comfortable yet. But and whatever the outcome of the vote comes, that's what I'll settle with. And if the board agrees to go along with it, well, let's hope that the residents abide by those rules and stay with the safety and do whatever is required to protect themselves and everyone else and everything. So whatever the board decides,
well,
that's what it's going to be. So
Joe, I'm sorry, Mike. Go on. Let me just say one thing quickly. I think the three of us agree with you. I mean, I don't think we're all yay. Let's throw caution to the wind.
I'm not saying that,
but I think I believe that caution, is a byword, but that we do need to open up, because no matter when you open it up, it's going to be
well.
iffy.
All right, I just my point thing there. So in other words, what I am going now is to ask for a motion. What you want the staff to do.
You're going where? Say it again.
Asking for a motion.
I would make a motion if we need a motion. If it's not going to be a consensus.
Is that,
We've ran on consensus all along. I think that we need to continue on consensus.
it's up to, okay,
The thing is, though, again, and I agree with Randy, however, sometimes we want to take it off the shoulders of staff also so that they're not
Yes.
the bad guy.
That's
so
what I
that,
was looking for.
that if someone says they did this, they did that, it isn't John, it isn't these people, it's actually the board who goes out and says, no, this is what we decided to do. So
And it's
again,
not-
I'm not looking to delay this any longer than is necessary. The staff said they would open this up as soon as they possibly could, possibly by the 19th. We are not going to provide music. We're not going to have bands. We're not going to do those things. And we're not providing food. Is that correct?
We're not going to provide kitchen service. We will have some prepackaged.
Right. But we're not going to start pasta nights. We're not cooking.
No.
We're not doing those. And we're not providing bands and that kind of thing. So, again, if it's a consensus you want, I would say we go with the conditioned opening. But if you want to take it off the shoulders of staff, I would be happy to make a motion about that.
I would, you want to make the motion, I'd rather not take it off the shoulder of the staff.
I would
and
make a
we-
motion that we go with staff's recommendation to do the, what did you call it, a conditioned reopening?
Phase
Phase
three.
3 conditioned reopening as outlined by Mr. Coffey.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion with a voice count. Randy?
Yes.
Luann? Mr. Mayo?
Yes.
Joe, no. It'll be 3-1.
And again, only a motion because I wanted it taken off of their
Yes.
shoulders so they don't get any static.
And so, like I say, let's hope everybody follows the guidelines and rules, and we'll be, whatever outcome is, okay. Thank you very much, board. Next is the Violation Committee appointment.
Mr. Chairman, currently we have 2 vacancies, 1 voting member, 1 non-voting member. Staff advertised for resumes or letters of interest. We received 3 of them at the time of the agenda being put together, and a 4th resident submitted one that was sent to you separately. His name is incorporated up on the slide. In keeping with past custom, staff recommends the BOT appoint Mr. Earl Brinkler, currently an alternate to the vacant voting member position for a 3-year term, and 2 of the 4 property owners to vacant alternate positions for 3-year terms.
The chair will entertain a motion.
So we can get to discussion, I would make a motion to accept the staff's recommendation.
Second.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay. Go ahead.
I guess my first point would be then, at the last meeting, this came up and we decided, I think some of us knew at the time that it was not a conflict to be on 2 committees because they are not publicly elected bodies. They are not public bodies. They're simply committees of the BOT. And I understood there was not. But I had, at that time, it was going to be a vote, and we made a motion to delay it. And I guess the motion to delay it was what? To find out whether it was in conflict, or was it
Yes.
to wait for the election? It was just to find out if it's in conflict, correct? Is that correct?
Mr. Rebinger?
Correct.
Okay. No, but I mean, the motion was just simply to determine whether there was conflict. We made a motion at the last meeting. No, we made a motion. I'm almost positive I made a motion. Stephanie?
There was a motion made by you.
I think I've had my understanding of the motion wrong, because I'm just looking at the minutes, and Trustee Mino, you did state hold the decision until after the election, so my apologies for that.
It said after the election? Okay, so I guess we made that motion, and I know there was a discussion about whether it was a conflict. And we understand that it's not a conflict. We know that. And we also understand that if you are elected to this, if he is elected to the BOT, he cannot sit on the committee. Is that correct?
Correct. Neither one of them. You have to resign.
Okay, cannot sit on either committee. Okay, so with that, then I would make a motion to accept staff's, as we did, the recommendation. And I think because it was on to the last meeting, it again deserves an up or down vote, either yes or no.
Yes. And I need a second on that.
Well, I guess I made a motion to accept their recommendation.
Recommendation to put
It was
Mr.
more or less just explaining why I would make that motion.
Well, in other words, you're making a motion to put Mr. Brinker as a voting member now.
I'm sorry?
Are you going to appoint Mr. Harold Brinker to the vacant voting, to make him as a voting member?
That was the motion.
That's what you have to do if you're going to do it.
I did. I accepted his recommendation.
Okay.
I accepted the staff's recommendation.
All right. Luann?
So, well,
Just-
my question now is, and two property owners to the vacant alternate positions. Are we going to do that now? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, we're going to do that right after.
We're going to do it right.
Yeah,
Right after that,
My
yes.
recommendation, consider the motion on Mr. Brinker, and then if that passes or fails.
Then I'll ask for the motion.
okay.
Another one.
So, all right. So then, I second his motion to accept Harold for that position.
Okay. Any
Okay.
discussion?
then I-
Okay. Any further discussion on that motion?
Let's just clarify that one more time to just
Go
make
ahead.
sure, because we've talked about recommendation and appointment. The actual motion is to accept staff's recommendation to appoint Mr.
Yes.
Brinker to the vacant voting member position on the violation committee.
Yes.
And Luann second. There is no other discussion on that motion?
Yes. I've had 3 calls from a variety of homeowners that have a concern with one person sitting on 2 committees that are so closely interlinked, meaning the ARC and the DOR. They voiced some other concerns. I don't think they're relevant to this meeting, nor do I want to discuss them at this meeting. But I did see their point, and having the call from the homeowner with the garage and the shed and the conflict that we had last meeting with the conflict between the DOR enforcement and the ARC approval, I can see that there might be a problem with that as well. Also, seeing that we've got the interest of 4 other homeowners that are interested in sitting on committees, it's time for new people to be able to take part in some of these things. And I know Paul Voigt has sat on this committee before. Is that not correct?
He's on the ARC committee. Paul Voigt is.
It's John Voigt.
John Voigt. All right, thank you. I knew there was a Voigt somewhere in there.
Well, John. Yeah. Okay, John.
So I will abstain again on my vote, but my concern is that, and I think that is a concern in the community. I just wanted to voice that and put that out there. Do as you will.
One final comment again to Randy, and again, just so Randy understands my point here. It goes back to what we just discussed about the reopening and those kinds of things. Of when staff comes up with a recommendation, again, not having things aside from what you may or feel or may know or anyone else. I'm simply making a motion to accept staff's recommendation. So, again, decide it needs an up or down vote.
Okay, so there is accept as a motion and Luann's second. So now I'm gonna, since no more further discussion, I will ask for a voice vote. Mr. Mino,
I would vote yes.
Luann, Randy,
I abstain.
you abstain. I'll say yes too. So the motion passes 3-1.
3 to
Okay.
0 with 1 abstention.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go vote for the alternative. There's 2 openings. I am looking for a motion to appoint one of the 3.
I'd make a motion to appoint Vicky Schloss and John Voigt to the. That will give them a chance as alternates to find out what goes on,
Right.
when it goes on, who's doing what to who when,
And they'll be the
as opposed to hopping right into it. It'll give them a chance to get their feet wet. the other gentleman whose name escapes me at the moment, you know, he was late with his thing.
So your vote is for Vicky?
Anyway, that's why I would.
So
I
you're
would
making a
say
motion to put Vicky
Sloss
Sloss and John
and
Voight
John
in, right?
Voight. I'd make a motion
Okay.
for that.
I need a second on that.
Yeah, I don't know them.
I don't either.
Sorry, I don't know them either, but we got their resumes and.
Do we have any?
I would
I mean-
second your motion. I don't.
Yeah,
know
I
I
don't
mean,
them
I don't
individually.
know them either, but you know, I mean, we got their resumes, and you know, that's the only way I know them. Okay.
Okay, I'm usually on top of this. I don't have their resume.
Send it. You should have been in your package.
I
The one who-
don't think we made a motion or second. And how question would be, I guess, does staff have a recommendation on this? No.
Trustee Mino asked if we had a recommendation on any of the four for alternates.
No, I don't know any of them.
No.
I'm good with whatever.
So again, then I would second Luann's motion.
Okay, there was a third, Stephen Holmberg, John. Stephen Holmberg. He sent it one later. You threw it in.
Well, I emailed it to you separately.
Yeah, emailed it to. So there'll be Vicky Sloss, John Voight, and Stephen Holmberg, and Paul Preston. So you got four of them there.
Yeah, Stevens is one I don't have. Yeah, okay, I got it.
So we do need two alternates.
Well,
So-
she made a motion for Sloss and Vogt, and I
Yes.
seconded that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All in favor of that motion with voice count? Mr. Mino?
Yes.
Luann? Randy?
Yes.
Joe, yes. Motion passes. Thank you very much. On new business, the appeal of DOR violation, that's charges to the owner for 420 Comtois Drive, and I understand he withdrew. So we're going to go from the next one is the Gulf Irrigation System Design Award of Contract. John and Ernie?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll provide a brief overview.
Okay.
Within the current 5-year plan is funding for the design of the replacement of the irrigation system on the golf course. Mr. Cruz has worked diligently to get two quotes that were similar. Initially, we got two quotes, but they were like apples and sweet potatoes. This would continue the phased approach at the golf course. A few years ago, we replaced the computer control system. Earlier this year, we replaced the satellite remote controllers. This would provide the design for the ultimate replacement of the system. Two quotes were received. ABM reviewed them in addition to Mr. Cruz, and we recommend award a contract to AquaTurf International Consulting in the amount of $7,500 for design of irrigation system at the golf course, and to instruct staff to include funding for this in the November budget amendments.
Thank you, John. Entertain a motion?
I make a motion to accept the AquaTurf International contract, award a contract to them. If Matt Hill, who's the branch manager of ABM, says they're good, then I'm all for them.
I need a second.
Yeah, I would second it.
Any other discussion on this motion?
So is this the part of the project that you all decided to move forward after the green repair construction last year was turned down?
Yes, this originally was planned for FY21, and it got pushed forward. And that's why I referenced the budget amendment, because this was planned to be an expenditure in FY20.
And that $7,500, we're just going to make some maneuvers in the budget and
We have reserved that amount in fund balance previously, so we will recognize that at the November board meeting as a budget. it's been a planned expenditure, it just wasn't a budgeted expenditure.
Luan did make a motion. I need a second.
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Next is the shopping center air conditioning replacement award of contract confirmation. John?
Yes, as the trustees know, and most residents who have followed our proceedings know, although our leases state that the tenants are responsible for replacement of HVAC systems, I believe it's in the Bay's long-term interest to replace them because we replace them correctly, unlike some past repairs done by previous tenants. Using the policy manual exception to competition number 8, repairs that require actions within 72 hours, I authorized the expenditure of $12,166 to replace the dual HVAC systems for the RJ's restaurant. Therefore, since this exceeded the $7,500 spending authority I have, I brought this back to y'all for confirmation. This work has been done. RJ's is very happy with the project. The new AC systems, it should save them quite a bit on their electric bill. Therefore, staff recommends the BOT confirm award a contract for the replacement of the dual air conditioning systems at the shopping center to Next Generation Air and Heat in the amount of $12,166.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Yes, I would make a motion to confirm the award of contract for the replacement of the dual air conditioning system at the shopping center to Next Generation Air and Heat in the amount of $12,166.
I'll second.
Mr. Minor made a motion, second by Randy. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye motion. Aye motion. Aye passes 4-0. Thank you. Next is the FY22 budget preparation calendar. John?
Yes, for anybody new to Barefoot Bay, for the last several years, I have brought the budget calendar to the board for approval, for transparency of how the process works. Changes this year are related to the recent interlocal agreement with Brevard County and the need to reserve about a 5-week window if the board were to desire to appeal the CPI limit. That's not saying the board will, it's just to give you the flexibility. So therefore, the change has, summarized the changes, the budget kickoff town meeting we normally have in late November, early December is now proposed for mid-January. The separate 5-year financial model and capital improvement plan workshop that was held in the end of January is recommended to be omitted, and that would be reviewed with the regular budget that instead of being provided to you by March 31st would be provided to you in the first week of March, allowing you a greater window. The one thing I will point out is that this does shave off another month from staff's ability to compare expenditure rates, so it increases the wiggle room of revenue projections slightly. What we are looking for from the board is to, as in your packet and up on the screen, we have 4 different times on Thursday, January 14th for the town hall meeting, and then we have 6 dates to pick for potential budget workshops. 2 of them are in mid-March, and 2 of them are in late April, May, allowing that window of opportunity. If we get to mid-March and you don't want to appeal, we can move up the budget workshops if you like at that time, but this allows the next year's board the greatest flexibility in considering their choices. So staff's looking for direction on the times for the town hall meeting and the date and times for the budget workshops.
Board, which time would you like?
Okay, we do realize that the only one that is guaranteed sitting here in January is Mike.
Yeah, you know.
So, but I think for me,
It better
I
not
think
be. It better not be.
I think that I think the 7 p.m. for the town hall is just my opinion is always the good time because you've got the people who work, and it does make good sense to have the 7 p.m. It does make good sense to have maximum exposure, especially for the town hall because that's kind of a free-for-all to really talk about. For the homeowners to talk about what they would like to see. And then I have no opinion on the workshops.
Well, the town hall meeting, you're right, it is kind of a free-for-all, and probably really should be up to Mike to do this, but I prefer to see it in the afternoon myself. I understand what you're saying about people who work can't get here, blah, blah, but I don't, do they come? When we have night meetings, do we get more people than we have them in the afternoon? I don't know. I would prefer to have it in the afternoon, but I'll go around, if I'm here, I'll go around with whatever everybody has to do.
Mr. Mino?
Yeah, well, again, it better not just be me with everybody new. Again, I'm the complete opposite, simply because I believe you have a meeting in the evening, you give more time, more exposure to the residents to be able to come in and say what they want to say. And also, I don't particularly want to be taking up my afternoon sitting in a hot building in a town hall. I'd much rather do it at 7 o'clock at night. So, as far as I'm concerned, I would go for the town hall at 7 o'clock at night. With your workshops, you need 2 dates. I would go any Tuesday again in the evening, any of those Tuesdays in the evening. Don't pick a Thursday because I may be traveling that day.
We're actually looking for 4 dates, 2 from the first 3 and then 2 from the second 3.
Again, and just how we're doing this, in my opinion, any one of the Tuesdays for all 4 meetings in the evening is fine with me.
So, Mike, what you're saying is you're picking, so everybody knows, Tuesday the 16th at 7 o'clock, Tuesday the 23rd at 7, Tuesday April 29th at 7, and Monday, I guess, the 10th of May
Where
at
are
7. Is that what you're talking? Because you don't want a Thursday, so that's what you're talking, right?
The Tuesday, March 23rd would have to be an afternoon because you have a board meeting that night.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we don't want to. What date is that? That's the what? The
23rd, Tuesday, the 23rd.
But it doesn't have to be Tuesday. It could be Thursday.
It could be a Thursday, yes.
Well, again, on that one, then, again, Thursday in the evening I would go for. I forgot. I looked up at the top. The town hall meeting, that actually is a Thursday, isn't it?
Yes.
The first one. Yeah, again, okay. And the evening, again, would be fine with me. What other ones do you need?
Selecting 2 from and I think I know where you're going to go. There's, the choices are Thursday, April 29th, Tuesday, May 4th, and Monday, May 10th, and 7 p.m. options are for all those.
Again, either one of those days
Okay.
for me are 7 p.m. is fine. I don't, I'm all for evening meetings, so.
Would April 29th and May 4th be agreeable then, at 7 p.m.?
With me it is. Joe, you're not going to be here anyway, except in the audience.
So, I know, but whatever thing you want.
What do we pick from the first 2 then, from the 2 in March? Tuesday the 16th at 7 and the 23rd? Oh, we can't
No.
do 7. Then Thursday,
No, the
then
25th,
Thursday the
the
25th
25th.
at 7. Is that what
It would be Tuesday, March 16th at 7, Thursday, March 25th at 7. It would be Tuesday, May 4th at 7. Do we need another one there too?
Yeah, you need 2. Do the next Monday.
If you needed another one there, you needed 2 there?
Well,
These are way more meetings.
Hopefully, we won't.
Way,
We'll have it
way more
wrapped up.
meetings than I need, I'll tell you.
But in the past, we've averaged 4 to 5 meetings. This year was much different, but
Better to set it up in case you don't need them, then you
Yeah.
don't have
That's
to use
fine.
them.
That's fine.
and part of the reason there's only a few to choose from is, and I bring this to the board in the fall, is believe it or not, the meeting rooms are booked pretty solid at this point for April and May already. So if the 4th and the 10th is fine with folks at 7 p.m. then?
It's fine, yeah.
Again, I'm not going to be the only one here, so it's other people here too, but my point simply is I much prefer evening meetings.
Okay, no problem.
So just for folks watching at home, I'll repeat these. The budget kickoff meeting will be Thursday, January 14th at 7 p.m. in this building, and the 4 scheduled budget workshops will be March 16th at 7 p.m., Thursday, March 25th at 7 p.m., Tuesday, May 4th at 7 p.m., and Monday, May 10th at 7 p.m.
Sounds
fine
good
with me.
sounds good to the board there.
Okay.
And that is all, John?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. The next thing on the agenda is the manager's report.
Okay. ARC meeting on the 29th of September, 13 consent items, 3 others were approved. Next ARC meeting is October 13th. Violations Committee on the 13th of September. 10 cases came into compliance before the meeting. 3 DOR is working with the homeowners. 11 found in violations. There were 12 cases on the agenda this morning at the violations meeting. And were they all found in?
3 were working with the homeowner, the rest were found in violation.
3 are working with the homeowners and 7 are found in violations. Next violation meeting is October 23rd. Interesting facts for September: 34 homes sold with 54 new homeowners receiving their badges. Property Services has been busy as ever, replaced some burned underground wiring near the miniature golf course, poured an extension of the concrete pad off the Gunther bypass coming from the playground area, and reworked some of the turf area to remove the washout and try to pretty that up. Built an access ramp for the new shed for the garden club near West RV, trimmed trees at the beach, replaced the pit door on pool 2, worked with the vendor on their continued work at the pit at pool 2, pressure washed and set up furnitures for the lounge outdoor opening, removed graffiti that someone spent a lot of time putting out a couple weekends ago. Installed a nice new sign at the beach along A1A, a very stronger version to resist being broken this time. Repaired Building A parking lot light outages, replaced the main pump at Pool 3. It's wild animal season, so we've been, one of the courtesies we provide to residents is we drop off and pick up loner animal traps for them. Coordinated a successful fire inspection at the beach property. Mr. Getz provided a lot of input to the FY21 project schedule that I placed at your work area before the meeting, and continuing to solicit quotes and bids for various projects. In the Golf and Pro Shop, membership sign-up continues. Pro Shop sale is going, ends on the 16th or while supplies last. 60% off shirts, shorts, and shorts. Accessories 10% off. And golf course hours will change effective November 1st when daylight savings ends. It'll be 7 a.m. to 5:30. Course is closed on Election Day, and on the 23rd and 24th we'll be doing the overseeding, so the front and back will be closed when that one. And there is some big news. Well, sort of. If you were watching us last year, it's very similar. For the 6th year in a row, the readers of Hometown News in Sebastian has voted Barefoot Bay best golf course in the area. For the 2nd year in a row, readers of Hometown News in Palm Bay voted Barefoot Bay Golf Course the best golf course in the area. So I'd like to thank Mr. Cruz and his staff and ABM for their hard work. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
Just a question.
Go ahead.
Not about the report. What about the vacancy on the board? How are we?
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that.
Oh, you're going to?
I'm going to do that in my incidental remarks.
There was some Polish collusion on that.
Okay.
Joe's going to bring that
Okay.
up in a moment.
Okay, Ms. Repinger.
Since you're on that topic, and I know you wanted to mention it under your incidental, do you want me to give any kind of explanation of how that's dealt with in the charter? I
Yes.
don't. Okay, so I'll just start by saying, so you have a vacancy, and under the charter, it provides that the remaining members of the board are to fill that vacancy. Now, there's no, and the vacancy is for the remainder of the term that's existing on the resigned trustee's term. So that resignation was effective immediately. Obviously, Mr. Compton's not here today. And so you have a vacancy right now currently on the Board of Trustees. There is no guidance in the charter as to how you make that appointment, but it is a decision to be made by the 4 remaining members of the Board of Trustees as to how to fill that appointment. And you can fill that appointment at any time. So historically, the board has taken in resumes and submissions from applicants and then made those appointments from that applicant pool. That's how that's been done historically. There's no time frame on that, but you can fill it as quickly or as you can take as much time as you want with it. The member who is appointed under your rules will be seated at the next regular board meeting after the appointment is made.
So do we have to send out, or does staff have to send out a
Well, I
letter
think
saying
the chairman
that-
was going to, did you have a plan? You said you were going to address it, but
Go ahead, John.
Just follow up one thing with Mr. Reppinger. You said the next meeting they're seated, because when Ed Geyer was appointed, he got right up on the board.
The rules, under the rules, it says should be seated at the next regular meeting. That's what the rules say. But the board's free to interpret that however it wants. If that means at the beginning of a meeting and it takes the seat immediately, then it's the board's rules, so
Okay.
that's what it
Um,
says.
There's typically, the board will instruct staff to advertise in the peak of the week that there's a vacancy, and just like the VC, people will submit resumes, letter of interest. Pre-COVID, and Mr. Reppinger has seen this play out much more than I have, the one time we had a vacancy, the board allowed the applicants to get up and say a little something. If you were inclined to do this at the next meeting, you would probably need to give us guidance that those folks are allowed into the building since it's closed to the public. My suggestion is if you want to advertise, give us the guidance if you want this back on the 27th agenda or you want it on the November 13th agenda, because the last thing I want to do is mess up motions 2 meetings in a row.
again, my interest is in having you advertise this immediately. Give them, anyone submit a letter, either a written letter, electronic letter, email, whatever, to whoever it would go to, Mr. Coffey, and a letter of interest and a short resume. And I would ask, when does the agenda go out for the next meeting, by when? 19th, 20th?
The
20th.
20th. So
20th.
there's plenty of time for that, for folks, they'll have
But our agenda goes out when?
on the 20th.
20th.
The meeting's on the 27th.
So we would want it back by that time, so we would get all the information in our agenda packet. I'm not in favor of having someone come in and get up and talk. I would rather just see the resume, see the letter of interest, and have this completed at the next meeting.
I agree with Mike on that. I think it gives us an opportunity to, if we want to reach out to those people that write the letters as individual board members, we can do that and have discussions with them. I also think that there's another option. The other option is since Joe's leaving the board in January, there may be an option to have him submit and fill out Roger's seat. My concern on this is we're going into budget. We're not only just going into budget, we're going into probably one of the hardest budgets that a board has seen in Barefoot Bay. And that's from a year of COVID and little or no activity within the Bay, and planning out the budget for next year for our amenities and activities. I think that we really want to be cautious in how we do this and how we set up whoever the new board is coming in, that we set them up for success with some experience, with some Bay experience and some experience from this year. It's going to be a struggle for sure in a lot of ways, but it's doable. But I really want to make sure that whoever we sit in that seat, it's 1 out of 5 votes, but it's a very important 1 out of 5 votes, that they understand that there's a lot of research that goes on that we have to do before we come in and sit down in these seats, and that this budget is very important and critical, but it's also fixed. It's, when I hear people talk about the budget, I hear them talk about it as though it's really a big flexible thing of, well, if we sell enough widgets, we're going to have more money. And that's just not the way our budget works. Our budget works based on fixed income, much like Social Security. But we also have some fixed costs. Our projects are what really change the scope of our budget. So I think it's important that we give it a lot of thought. I like the idea of the letter, and I do think that we need to move on it quickly. 4 people on a board, we're already lean at 5. 4 people on a board we need that 5th person.
I hate to say this, Randy, I listened to the whole thing. I'm not really sure what you were asking. Mike wants people to write a letter, which I agree with, but do you not want to see them? I mean, do you want to talk to them? I'm not really sure where this is all going.
Here, no.
You don't care to talk to them, Randy? Did you care to talk to them?
Well, if I do, I'll call them, and so I want them. Whoever submits a letter, be open to have conversations with board members, because I want to know who I'm voting for. I'm voting for, I was voted on with 1,700 votes. And I'm voting for those same people. I'm making a vote to put somebody on this board that's representative of those people that had the faith in me to vote for me.
I understand. I'm just trying to make sure that we're all on the same page.
I agree with you.
I agree with you. I would like to, look at people. I want to talk to them before I vote for them. That's my opinion. That they send letters, and then if Mike doesn't want to talk to them, then Mike doesn't have to. But you and I, or
well,
Joe,
Luann, the point I have is we had enough problems when we just appointed some people to this committees we just had, and I just don't think it's fair to people to have them come in here and have 5 or 6 people stand over there, get up, give all of the summation, and we go back now and say, yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we'll pick you instead. Let's just get their resume, get their letter.
I agree with that. I'm not saying we should,
do it that way.
put them in front of a wall and execute them, but I'm just saying that I would like to see what they look like, talk to them before, and maybe it would be better to call them or meet with them privately or something. I don't know.
Well,
That's my opinion.
I see what Mike's saying, Luann. I agree with him. They don't need to show up personally, but I think individually, But then I also think that, and I'm taking a high risk because Barb knows where I live and she might kill me, of having Joe stay the extra year and serve out because he knows budget. He's done it for 112 years. Or is it 113? I'd like to see
Is that a
his be one of
consensus?
those letters.
To aim for getting this back on the 27th?
Yes.
Okay. The one thing, if you don't mind, I'd just like to add out there for anybody watching this, the Sunshine Law does not apply to trustees and people applying to be trustees. So I don't want anybody confusing that with the fact that Mr. Klosky and Ms. Henderson can't have a lengthy discussion outside of this board room about issues, but before they're appointed, any trustee can talk with any applicant about whatever they want. But we'll get that on the 27th, and we'll have it in the peak for the next 2 weeks.
Mr. Repinger, how would that work if they considered me? I would be honored to be honored again for another year, especially with the elections coming up. Will there be, if it just happens that they get maybe 4 brand new people here, and poor Mike will be the one sitting there and wondering what's really going on, and like I say, I've had this experience 14 years in learning experience, and I know what John Coffey has to and everything, and I'm sure Mr. Minor does, and the rest of the board here does, but I know I could work with him, and so when Mr. Minor, but will the other ones do? So I like to see a direction where it's not going to be a rough FY22, a rough area, but it's going to be a little strenuous because with CPI we have right now, and then with the increase in the hourly wage, if it does, it's going to be a little tough schedule there and everything, and tough thing there. So I would be honored to be honored again, and then I can just leave and everything, and just I have no regrets on what I've done. I've been honored to be on this board for 14 years, and Lord knows I've learned an awful lot. And as I look at it this way, no matter what, that's what the board is here. In other words, all 5 board members will not agree together and everything. Maybe some will say, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. But in the long run, they all know where I stand, I know where Mr. Mino stands, and we all try to work together. And so we were a good team and everything, and I like to see it done. So it's up to the board. And I'd like to start from Mr. Repinger how that would work.
Well, assuming that you'd be willing to do it, and I'm taking from your comments that there is a possibility that you might be willing to do that, and the other board members would be agreeable to that. If that were to be a possibility, that is possible to happen. Obviously, Mr. Klosky's term is ending. Mr. Klosky's commission as a trustee ends in January. So I believe it's the first Tuesday in January, I think. I forget exactly how the commission
That's what
reads.
it is, yes.
But that first week of January that you do the swearing in of the new trustees on the first meeting in January, which is the Friday meeting, the second Friday, that second Tuesday is actually the actual official de facto first day of the commission. We by ceremony swear them in on the Friday, but the commission actually takes effect on that Tuesday, so they don't really sit on the board. There's no official recognition of that until that Friday, and then that's kind of like the official start date. So Mr. Klosky's term will end that week. If the board was interested in making that interim appointment to fill Trustee Compton's seat, to have Mr. Klosky do that, what you would do is you would make that appointment whenever you make it, effective as of the termination of Mr. Klosky's commission, and then it would restart into that would be effective as of that date that he would term off. So that can be done. You have probably, looking at the calendar, you've got 3 meetings left for the year if you do not have 2 meetings in December. And if you cancel, and I think we may have already done that. I'm not sure if we already.
One in November and one in December.
Right. So you've got.
We only scheduled 1 in November and 1 in December.
So we've got 3 meetings left for till the end of the year. So you'd be running, if you were to do that, you'd be effectively running 4 trustees for the next 3 meetings. That's not that unusual. We've done that in the past. Well, I mean, it doesn't happen every day, but we have done that in the past. We have run 1 trustee down, and ironically enough, I'm sure Mr. Klosky probably remembers.
If I recall back in about 4, 5, 6 years ago, somewhere there, we had a vacancy for almost two and a half months.
There have been extended periods of times of vacancy where the board has run 4 down, and it's fine. I mean, you still got to get the same number of 3-vote majority passing on items, so you're down 1 member, but you're only running that for 3 meetings if you were to do something like that. So you would just have to make that, you'd have to make that appointment effective as of the termination of Mr. Klosky's current commission. And that's how it would be done. So it is possible.
And if I could make a suggestion so it's clear to everybody, that if you make an appointment other than Mr. Klosky on the 27th, that person would start in the November meeting, because I think that just is easier than trying to brief up a whole bunch of people to be able to vigorously participate in a meeting they may or may not be appointed to. Okay.
And that's it. So I guess you'll revisit that issue on the 27th. And I would suggest that if Mr. Klosky's going to be one of those candidates, that you would then submit your name into the ring on the 27th for consideration, if that's a consideration. Okay. All right. You got anything else on that? In addition to that, all the updates on the major cases I'm pushing to the 27th. But on blissful things, I know that Mr. Klosky's probably going to ask me. All the paperwork's done. I need to get staff to sign off on it. I just haven't had the opportunity. I've got like 5 different administrative contracts and policy reviews I've been working on. So we're working on it. Hopefully we'll get that final hearing. The plan is to get it in either November or December. So whether you term off or whether you stay on for another year, we'll likely have that done by the time your term is over. And then that's all I have for today. That's all I have.
Okay, I wasn't going to ask you, but you did. You gave me the answer, so.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
I have one question. Cliff, where are we on the steward?
I'm trying to get an appraiser to give me an appraised value of what we ought to have in that lease agreement. So I need to follow back up with the appraiser to see where we're at as far as that goes. I will have an answer for that. I know that they're kind of itching to get in the space, but you want to make sure you get the valuation right. So so I will follow up with them to see, and then I'll shoot you an email and let you know.
Okay.
But we need to get the valuation right.
Okay, all done. Okay, incidental remarks, Randy?
Yeah, I just want to I want to say a big thank you to Roger Compton, not just as a board member, but Roger has been a great citizen in Barefoot Bay. I met him 6 years ago when a little club called Deck the Halls was formed, where we started putting up some really nice Christmas decorations. There were 5 of us in that project, and Roger was so active in that project, and because of Roger, a lot of these decorations that you see at Christmas time are his, Ann Manzo, Carol Jennings at the time, Zephyr. From there, in getting to know him, we got on and served on the then HOA together, and Roger was a champ. He was a champ on that. We grew the HOA from 1 or 2 projects into what is now the CVO, which Roger took that on his own and moved that forward with Ann Manzo again and Elaine Vandershot. And they're one of the biggest serving charities that we have in the Bay. They've done so much good, and Roger was a huge part of that. Not only that, he went on and worked with Kathy Mendez and did our Barefoot by the Lake Festival. We've had 3 very successful, fun activities in the Bay. Roger was only in our community for about 6 years, I believe, and his involvement has just been very deep-rooted, and I admire that, and I want to say that to me that is exemplary of being a really good citizen and caring about your community. He and his wife, Tamisa, are going to be very much missed. Roger and I are friends. We were not the let's eat at each other's house type of friends. We were actually neighbors and shared a lot of common neighbors, as in living in the same community, and shared a lot of common interest in clubs, charities, and community events. And again, he and his wife, Tamisa, are going to very much be missed, and I know that the board is going to miss his level-headed thinking here on the board. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Luann?
I would like to say that anybody who's mailing out their ballot, to be sure to put enough postage on it, because it costs more than 55 cents to mail it. And if you don't put more than 55 cents on it, it's not going to get there. I also would like to thank Roger. I only actually knew Roger since he was on the board. I knew of him, but I did not know him until he was on the board with me. And it was a pleasure, and I hope he has every wonderful thing happen to him in the next lifetime. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Mino?
Yes, I'd echo some of that. I mentioned Roger before at the beginning of the meeting. You know, one of the things, and especially we have the new people running for the board, and we had the candidate session last night, and what you really want is you want people to come on the board without axes to grind, without specific issues that they want to change, but you want them to come on and have an open mind and look at both sides of an issue, and sometimes vote yes with you and sometimes vote no. And I found, because Roger and I ran together at the same time, I found that he was like that for the year that he spent on the board with us. And I did appreciate that, as I mentioned to some other board members one time. The other thing I have is also comments that come out, especially in these meetings with the candidates. And I actually got in a discussion with a resident one day that actually was quite heated, and I had apologized for it. People have a misconception about where we are financially and what our budget is. And I would ask maybe at the next meeting, even John, you or Charles, somebody come in, do a brief update on where our budget is. I mean, people think we're losing money hand over fist here, and we're not. We laid people off. We have a very stable budget. It's very well put together. We're not spending money because of the COVID, but we're not taking money in. And people don't really understand that. They think that because they don't know, it's not on purpose, they just don't understand that a budget's a very complicated thing, but it actually is very easily. It's you buy milk, you buy bread, or you don't have enough money, you don't do it, and you buy extra things. And I think I'd like to have a little summary of where our budget is and what's happened with the COVID thing at the next meeting.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I also like to thank Roger Compton for his service here and the board, and also for the everything else that he has done here and everything. So wherever he's going to Alabama, so whatever he does, I hope he has a great future there and everything, and the best of health to him and his wife and everything. So again, thank you, and God bless you, Roger. Okay, what I'm going to do is, here we go again. This is Christmas season time, and we have our Christmas parade. I wasn't going to have it, but I guess I'm going to leave it up to the residents. I'm going to think of a letter here I'm going to read. The holiday season will soon be here, and plans are being made for the annual Christmas parade held each year in Barefoot Bay. The parade this year is being planned to be held on Sunday, December the 6th, 2020. Due to the COVID-19 thing, a little bit of difference. To ensure everyone's safety, social distancing and wearing a mask will be encouraged. Formation will take place at the 19th-hole parking lot at 4:30, and the parade begins approximately at 5:30. We will proceed to Building A with our bells and whistles festivities to welcome the holiday season to our bay. Our participants include our local clubs, residents, golf cart owners, and floats. Many of our local business participants as well. Fun is had by everyone who joins us. If you or someone you know is interested in being part of the parade, please call me and let me know if you want to be in the parade. Everyone is welcome to join in the fun, and the fun is. It also a great way to advertise your business as well. The streets are lined for this parade, so exposure is wonderful. Please, plans will be coming together before you know it, so act now. This is your neighborhood. Help us to entertain your neighbors and welcome the holiday. Join our parade, and you'll be glad you did. And the other thing is, it is going to be the 15th annual Christmas parade, and it will start on it will be in December the 6th, and starts at 5:30. Starting point at Barefoot Bay Golf Course. Line up at 4:30. Ending point Community Center, Building A, and we welcome clubs, cards, golf carts, floats, pedestrians, bikes, road, RVs, and bands. The lighting ceremony will follow the parade at Building A. So if you are interested, please call me at 570-280-6371 or 772-631-2365. So I just like to know how many people are interested in it and would they like to be in the parade. But I have to know, and I will be calling all the different clubs and everything, and if you know of anybody, if they're interested, to please call me. The second thing that I want to bring up is, so on this is the sign up. It's going to be a 6th annual Light Up the Bay. Prizes will be awarded. Deadline to register will be December 18, 2020 at noon, so I can pick up all the names and give it to whoever's going to be in charge of the and doing the judging and everything, because I will not be here from the 16th on. So, and then I will have Barb giving out the awards. I'll figure it out when it is and what's going on. So we got two things: the Barefoot Bay Christmas Parade and the Light Up the Bay. The Barefoot Bay Christmas Parade is the 15th, and the Light Up Bay will be the 6th annual. So anybody's interested, they will be in the CVO office and also on the administrative building. So you can interested, please call them so we can see what we can do and probably see how it goes. I will ask maybe at the next board meeting that if the board would be so kind that I'll figure how much money I am going to look for. So thank you very much, and that's all I could say. And God bless everyone. And need a motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.